Hello friends! Thank you for joining me. I'm Ruth Norton with Ruth's Stamping Corner. Today is day 3 of my 3-day series for the Silly Goose Stamp-a-Stack. This one is so cute. I love this little Stamp-a-Stack. In our first video, we did 3 of this birthday card. So very cute. 3 each of those. In the second video, we did 3 each of this little thanks card. So we have 3 each of those. And today I am going to show you this card. These ones are super cute. We're going to make 3 of this one, sending a gaggle of good wishes. Now, if you want this Stamp-a-Stack, you can email me or go to my blog where all of the details are to see if there are any class packets of this left. You can contact me if I have any more left. I'll be happy to get one in the mail for you. It is $25. You get supplies for 9 cards. You also get 12 of the 6x6 sheets of the Dandy Designs DSP. In video number 1, we actually trimmed up 3 pieces of that DSP so that you can use them on all your cards. So we have the final pieces of our DSP here that are left, and we're going to use them on this card. But if you want a class packet, make sure you head to the link in the video description and that will tell you how to get them. All right, we are going to do this card. We're going to start with the stamping. Actually going to start with our little goose, which I didn't get out. I need to get out our little goose. Actually, I don't need to get it out. We've already stamped it. I've done a little bit of prep work. I've already stamped and fussy cut 2 of them. And then I have one here that is stamped, and we will have to fussy cut this one. This is maybe my favorite goose of the whole thing. She looks so funny. She's wearing a little hat. She's got a little frog friend. So funny. So we're going to do some coloring. We already stamped it. I stamped it in Memento because we're going to do some coloring with our Stampin' blends. So let's go ahead and start. We're going to start with our Granny Apple Green. This is light Granny Apple Green. Now these little images are pretty small, so I'm not going to do a whole lot of blending on them. We're going to color the little frog in light Granny Apple Green. And then I'm going to use dark Granny Apple Green. There's a couple leaves up here on her hat that I'm going to color with the dark Granny Apple Green. Okay, now Balmy Blue is next. For the dark Balmy Blue, I'm going to do, there's a little ribbon on her hat. I'm going to color her ribbon dark Balmy Blue. And then I'm going to come in and we're going to highlight these waves with the dark. And we're going to come back and highlight these a little bit more. We kind of want these little waves to be prominent. And I'm going to come in with my light Balmy Blue. And I'm just going to add a little bit of color. We're going to fussy cut this out, so I'm not going to worry too much about making sure everything's in the line, but I'm just going to add a little bit of color. And I'm going to let that sit a little bit. We're going to come back in with that dark Balmy Blue again and add more color to it in just a minute. All right, for the little inner tube that she's on, I'm going to use light Fresh Freesia. And we're just going to color this. I'm using the brush tip here, which I don't normally use, but this is a little bit bigger of a piece and I want to color it quickly. I just want to get it covered in that light Fresh Freesia. So just kind of carefully go through, just give it a little wash of color in the light. And then with the dark, I'm going to color the little flower petals in the dark Fresh Freesia and the ones on her hat as well in dark Fresh Freesia. Okay. Now for all these little dots on her little inner tube, I'm going to come in with my dark and just highlight all those little dots. We're not going to do any shading on the inner tube other than those little dots. And I'm actually going to let those sit, and I'm going to come back and add a second layer of color on those. All right, for her little hat, I have light Crumb Cake. This is just going to make it kind of look like she's wearing a straw hat. Just like that. All right, her beak is going to be Pale Papaya. So start with the light, just give it a nice little wash, just like we've done in the last 2 videos. And then the dark will come in. Her feet are hidden, so we don't have to worry about her feet on this one. And just a little bit more touch up on the edge of her beak. All right, I'm going to come back in with that dark Fresh Freesia. Give it another layer of darkness. The more times you add color, the darker it's going to get. So it's going to add nice color. All right, and we're going to do the same with the Balmy Blue. We're going to come in and just kind of highlight those waves now that that Balmy Blue has had a chance to dry. So this will kind of just sit on top instead of melting into that wet ink. Okay. All right, final step is just to shade our goose just a little bit. So I'm going to use my light smoky slate, just like I have in the other ones, and my color lifter. So I'm going to add some shading kind of under her hat and down her neck, on her wing here, kind of along the inner tube, right here on her little chest, and then along her back, just like that. Come in with your color lifter, and we're just going to use that to soften that smoky slate ink. We're not going to color her gray, but we're just going to soften some of that ink, and it's going to give her some shading. So it's going to look like she's got some shadows casting on her, and it's going to look like that we didn't forget to color her. Sometimes if you leave an image just stark white, sometimes it looks like you just forgot to color it. But we're just going to kind of do some shading. All right, I think that's good. If you need to come in and add another layer to your polka dots or your water, you can do that. But I think that's good. I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to fussy cut this. For the water, I'm just going to kind of do a little loop just to kind of follow that same shape of the inner tube. Just like that. We're going to cut that off and go through and cut around the frog. Excuse me. I cut off that big chunk of paper because when you get inside this little small area here, the less paper you have hanging off the side, it makes it much easier to color. Make sure you go around this little stem here and up around her beak. Now you'll notice that I'm turning my paper, not my scissors, and that's going to give you a much better cut. It's going to give you a much cleaner cut. You're going to get a nicer trim of that fussy cut. But it's not too hard of an image. Just go ahead and take your time. Make sure you're using good sharp scissors like our paper snips. Those are great scissors to have, especially when you're fussy cutting. And that's it. So make sure you do that for all three of yours. All right, we're going to stamp a greeting. So I have the sending a gaggle of good wishes. I just have a scrap of white here. In your card kit, you're going to get a piece of white that's going to be big enough to do all of your geese here and all of your greetings for all of your cards. So don't worry about that. All right, I'm going to trim this down. I'm just going to trim it to the height of the words, just like that. And I'm going to trim off a little bit on the left side. We're going to flag the end on the right, so I'm not going to worry about that. All right, we have one more bit of stamping to do. I'm going to pull out my card bases. They're already scored. If you get the class kit, yours will be scored as well. This is Pool Party. These are our Pool Party card bases. All right, and I'm going to get some Pool Party ink. And we're just going to do a little bit of stamping. Just like in the first video, I'm going to use this tiny little heart, and this heart is from the Warm Welcome bundle. It's down here. I'm just using this little tiny heart. But look around your stamp set, see what you have. You may have a heart that you can use, or maybe you have a star, or maybe just like a splatter stamp. Anything that you have will be perfect. We're just adding a little bit of fun texture to the background. So I just went on the top left and the top right and the bottom left. Just add a little smattering of hearts here. You can do as many or as few as you want. Do a few down here. All right, one more. All right, and I think that'll do it. It's just a few little hearts. All right, close that up. And we are ready to start assembling. I'm going to move our geese and our greetings out of the way because I'm going to put adhesive on the back of all of our DSP pieces. I want to use this balmy blue pattern, but that stripe would be really pretty, wouldn't it? That would be really fun. I'm going to stick with the polka dots because that was in my plan. So I'm going to put adhesive. I'm just using my Stampin' Seal. You can use any adhesive you want on the back of all of these. And then I'm going to do the same on the back of all of my little 1.5 by 1 inch pieces of DSP. These we all cut in video number 1. So if you missed video number 1, make sure you check that out. That is like our prep video. It tells us how we need to trim our DSP to fit all of these. And those instructions will also be on day 1 of this series of blog posts. So make sure you check those out as well. Okay, so let's grab our card bases. we're going to stick this on. This one we do want a little bit straight. Our other cards have not been completely straight, but this one we're going to put on straighter. And I'm going to do all those big pieces so I can get them out of the way. Just like this. I do like to use Stampin' Seal for stuff like this because I can put the glue on and I'm not in a rush to get them onto my card. They will still be sticky when I get to them. All right, I'm going to choose one of each pattern. And then we're just going to kind of go through. I don't want to use the same pattern. Oh, I did use the same pattern. Well, that's okay. We're going to put this one in the middle. Now you can see on my sample here that I actually used a different sizes of squares here. These I trimmed down to 1 by 1. So if you want to do that, you can. But I'm going to stick with that bigger, those bigger pieces, which is fine with me. I'm okay with those bigger pieces. I think they add a lot. They add some more texture to them, and I'm just adding them. These don't have to be straight. We're just kind of adding them across the front here. I'm going to add that polka dot one and this one. And there we go, just like that. All right, let's get our little goose on here on all the cards. So I'm going to flip these over. We're going to put dimensionals on the back of all of these. I actually have some little dimensionals if I can find them. Here they are. I'm going to put those on the back of her head just because they're a little bit smaller. Her head is a little bit smaller. We don't want a dimensional sticking out the side of her head. And then we'll do a couple on each of on the bottom down here. Okay, go ahead and peel off the backings of all of those, and we'll get these ready to go. When you are making a stack of cards, it's better to go assembly style. The way I am, we're doing one step at a time. We're completing one step at a time before we move on to the next step. That actually is quicker to make your cards in that way. So we're going to stick the little goose on all the way to the left where we have some extra room from that DSP. Isn't that cute? These cards are so cute. All right, let's get our greetings. I'm going to grab my scissors. I'm just going to cut a little flagged end here. You can do this with a punch, or if you just want to cut it straight, that's okay too. You can do it however you want. That cut, there we go. One more here. There we go. All right, I'm going to put some dimensionals. I'm going to put one on the back of each of these on the side here. And if they're cut too small, go ahead and either use a mini dimensional or just trim your dimensionals in half. Oops, on the banner end over here. These are all going to be on the banner end. So half of our banner is going to stick up and the other half is going to be adhered flat. So I'm going to use some Stampin' Seal for this side. And we are ready to start adhering these. So I'm going to grab one of these and I'm just going to kind of tuck it under. So it's glued flat there, but it's popped up there. And it kind of gives a little wave to the banner, which is really cute. So stick that under and pop it up. Okay. Now if you put your dimensionals too close to the edge, you may need to trim your greeting just a little bit to fit under there, but it should be fine. All right, now I have already pre-tied. In your kit you're going to get some of the gray granite thread or twine, and I've already pre-tied all 3 of my bows. So all we're going to do is I'm going to stick these all on glue dots, and then we're going to adhere them to the cards. So get them all 3 on your glue dots. I'm going to lift that up, and I'm going to stick it kind of as close as I can to that little inner tube on the greeting piece. Just like that. So grab the next one. Just like that. So cute. And one more to finish it off. Just like that. And our final step in our cards, I'm going to grab these. These are our finished ones. Our final step in our cards is to add our iridescent pearls in your kit. If you get the kit, you're going to get 30 of these pearls, which will be enough for all 9 of your cards, and you'll have a couple left over. So just a few right around the little goose. One kind of down here. and one up here, and oops, that one up. There we go. And there, and our final card. There we go. Perfect. So I'll set that aside. I'm going to bring in all the cards again. Now remember, if you want to get this class kit for the Stamp-a-Stack, make sure to head to my blog, get all the details on how to get the class kit on my blog. The class kits are $25. Again, they include the supplies for 9 cards. You're also going to get the DSP, and you're going to get the pearls as well. So I'm going to separate these. Look how cute. I have such cute cards now. I'm going to separate these into my little DSP stacks. So if you want supplies for all 9 of these cards, please let me know. Otherwise, I'd love to hear what you thought about this little series of cards here, this little Stamp-a-Stack series. Would you like to see more series like this? I would love to do more of these if these are, if you like these kinds of series of cards. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm just going to try to arrange all these. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye.